So everyone knows the importance of looking each other in the eye, right? Well, it seems that when we're on Zoom or Teams or one of the other platforms, we tend not to do it just because of the way technology works. But I'm going to show you a way in this video how to use a teleprompter connected to your computer so that you can very easily make eye contact with the other person on the other side of the Zoom call. It's going to be super easy for you to do this, less Zoom fatigue, and the other person will notice the difference. I'm Brighton West with Brighton West Video. I'm a virtual videographer, so I do a lot of this type of thing with my clients, and a lot of people are looking for a way to easily make eye contact on Zoom. So I've got a number of different videos about ways you can do this, and I've got a new system that I've just set up. This is using the Glide Gear TMP750 in a portable monitor, and I really like this system because it's so big. So if you have space in your office and you want to do this, and you have the budget to do this, this would be a great option. So I'm going to break this down into two different ways that you can do this. One is using a less expensive monitor, and one is using a more expensive monitor. And I'll tell you the difference so that you can properly choose between the two of them. So let's start out with the concept here. So in order to look the other person in the eyes, you need to be looking at your webcam, and typically that is above the image of them. So if you're actually looking them in the eyes, the webcam is seeing like kind of from above. So that doesn't look right. Or you could fake it by looking into your webcam, but then you're not really seeing exactly how the other person is responding. So with a teleprompter, what it is a one-way mirror at a 45-degree angle. Your external webcam goes behind it, and the image of the other person is projected in front onto the one-way mirror. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to show you how to do that with Zoom. So I have here on my computer, I have Zoom running right now, and I have it set up with just a call with just me on it. So this is the beginning of a Zoom call, but imagine this would be the person that you're talking to. You can hide your self view once you're all set up, and that way you won't be seeing this, seeing yourself. You'll only be seeing the other person. But imagine that I am the other person. So here's what it looks like on my screen now. And all I need to do is take this and drag it a little bit over so that my image is now between the two little, like I call them parentheses, on this is a C920 webcam. You might have a dot for your webcam if it's like a Brio or something like that. But this way, the parentheses, you can kind of see it behind the mirror because they're lit up, and the camera is directly behind the other person's eyes. And it's very natural to have a conversation like this, and it feels great for both people. So now that you got the concept and kind of why this is important, let me share with you the hardware that's working behind this. So all I have is a external webcam plugged into my computer here, and I've got an external monitor plugged into my computer here. I am using a 15-inch external monitor. Down below, you will see the links to all of everything I talk about today. If you want to purchase those, that supports my YouTube habit. But with this monitor, it's actually just plugged into the USB-C port on my computer. It also comes with cables for plugging it into an HDMI port if you want to do that. And it also comes with, I think, a USB-C to USB-A if you need to power it from the wall. What I found is that if I'm using a little external hub, that it doesn't push enough power through the hub to power the monitor, so you have to have that set up. But everything you need comes with it, and there are many different options for portable external monitors. They're really pretty expensive, around $150, maybe $100, and maybe $200. So I've got the webcam plugged in behind. I'm using a C920, and I've got the monitor out front. Now the webcam with the whole setup is being held together by the Glide Gear TMP750. And this is a professional teleprompter. It is huge. The glass is huge. I've got another video showing you how to do this with a TMP500. It's less expensive, but it's much smaller. But that is an option if that's what's right for you. If you don't have the desk space or you don't have the budget, that is an option. But in this video, I'm sharing the 750. So the one problem with the 750 is that it's really set up for professional, really big cameras and for people who are further away from the screen. So what I did was it's called a magic arm, and you can see essentially what this is an arm that goes every single different direction, and you can tighten it down in the middle. When you tighten it down in the middle, everything locks in place. So I'm using this to get the camera up higher on the screen than it otherwise would work without this. And that's what allows me to line up the person's eyes on the screen with the camera right behind. Otherwise, if you just mounted the camera to the built-in bracket, the camera would be really low on the screen and you'd have to make the person really small and not use all the screen real estate that you get by using this setup. You'll also need a way to mount this on your desk. Right here, I'm using a Vanguard tripod. This is a little bit pushing it with the size of the teleprompter for this small tripod, but there's a way that you can mount this to your desk using a monitor arm, and hopefully I'll get to making a video about that soon, but I'll have something. I'm also going to be creating a blog post with this so that you'll be able to go over there to try to get as much information as possible because I know this stuff is a little bit complex. But now let's talk about those monitors. There are two options here, as I mentioned earlier. One is this, just a standard 15-inch-ish monitor that portable monitor that you can buy on Amazon. This teleprompter is set up to be able to handle an 11.5-inch wide monitor without cutting anything off. And that's the key. You can put a much bigger monitor on here. You're just going to cut off the bottom corners. And for me, and for what I'm doing with Zoom, that is totally okay. So I'd rather have the bigger monitor that cuts off the edges than have a smaller monitor in the middle. So that option one is a regular monitor. Now let me tell you what is kind of the holdback for this. The image is reversed because it's being projected into a mirror. If you're having a conversation with someone over Zoom, that doesn't really matter. They look the same whichever direction they are. So if you're just looking at the screen and talking to someone, this works perfectly fine. Same thing with if you're using it as a teleprompter, if you're reading a script as it scrolls through. Just about every teleprompter software that you would run on your computer has an option to mirror the image of the text. So that's not a problem. I'll make another video about teleprompt using this specifically to read a script. But if all you need to do is have those conversations or read a script, you can then run everything from your computer over here. However, where that reverse image comes in to be a problem is if you need to use anything else on this screen. If you need to display a PowerPoint presentation in front of the camera so that you can read your PowerPoint presentation, the text is going to be backwards. Or if you need to be working with Zoom, if you need to get into the chat window or answer questions or see anything else on Zoom, when you use your mouse on this, because it's backwards, when you move your mouse to the right, the mouse moves to the left. So it is completely unintuitive and difficult to use this if you need to interact on this screen. Now, of course, you can look over here and say, okay, well, I need to push the share button. So I'll click over here and it pulls up the share button. That's fine. If that's fine for you to look away and do those things, this is a great setup because it's nice and big. But if you need to be able to have the screen not be mirrored, so you need to be able to continue making eye contact with your audience as you use your mouse, as you get to things, as you pull up PowerPoint, things like that, then you need to go to option B, which is a little more expensive. So there is a monitor on the market. It's called the A12 from Lilliput. I want to say it's around $600 US, and it's a little smaller than the monitor I'm using now, so it doesn't really cut off the corners, but it is a high quality monitor and it has the option in the hardware to mirror the image. So you can read the text on screen. You can use your mouse like normal because if you move the mouse to the right, the mouse moves to the right. So if you've got the budget to do that, that is a wonderful option. Everything else works exactly the same. It's just that the screen is presented the way a normal screen would be and not a screen that has been mirror flipped. As I mentioned, there will be links down below in this YouTube video, and this YouTube video also will be embedded into my website. There'll be a link down below for that, because sometimes it's easier to read things through and see some pictures than it is to watch a video, but ideally you can do both. And I also do consulting. If you're a little confused and you haven't quite figured this out, there'll be a link to my consulting page so you can hire me to do some one-on-one work with you to get it set up. If you're on Zoom for any amount of time during the day, or if that eye contact is really important, if you're a therapist or if you're a consultant or a coach or something, This is so worth it. And I love how big this is. It is really easy to read the text on the screen if you're using the A12, and really easy to feel like you're connecting with the other person. So I invite you to leave any comments down below or head over to my website, look through and make those purchases. Once again, as I mentioned, it doesn't cost you anything more, but those purchases do support my YouTube habit. So I hope to see you in another video soon. I'll probably pop some other videos up here about, unpacking this and setting it up and other things. Like I'll definitely throw the video about the TMP750, which is the less expensive option. I'll see you soon.